Greetings, everybody, and welcome to episode 1 of Comics Examination.
This is so exciting.
We're your hosts. I'm Heath.
I'm Sean.
We're going to talk about new titles, big current events, underdog titles, indie titles, things that we're disappointed that got canceled, and things that we're excited about coming out. And that's going to happen all here today on Comics Examination.
Let's start with, of course, Trinity War, which we had, which is ended. Trinity War, of course, at the very end of that, you had the big reveal that Alfred from Earth 3 was actually the man running the secret society, which totally blew me away at first because I didn't know what they were going to go with it. He kept talking about his master, and then, of course, it leads into the Crime Syndicate coming into our universe. And the Crime Syndicate is a longtime favorite of mine. I know, Heath, you had some...
Well, the whole development of Alfred being the man pulling the strings was pretty shocking to me because I was wondering who the character was the whole time because he made his first appearance in JLA. I mean,
I kept thinking Shade or something else. And
I was wondering if it was a Riddler. I mean, because he got the cane and the little bowler hat and everything.
Yeah.
And so I'm not, I couldn't figure out who it was. And Trinity War as a whole, it was very exciting. Every issue was really good. There was lots of action, a lot of characters, a lot of venues. I was slightly disappointed. I mean, you've heard me talk about this before, that the big reveal was that it was the Crime Syndicate, because the whole time I was thinking it was going to be leading into the actual master supervillains in the DC world, Riddler, Joker,
right.
All these Bizarro. And I've never been a huge fan of the Crime Syndicate, but maybe my mind changed.
Well, I mean, everybody's entitled to a wrong opinion, is what I always say. So, but that led into Forever Evil. Now,
awesome.
Forever Evil, number one, if you've ever wanted to see an alternate version of Superman snort kryptonite like a meth addict, then you definitely need to pick up Forever Evil. But it was amazing.
I hate to say that's the highlight of the issue, but it's really outstanding. I mean, literally, it's one page of him just like crushing kryptonite, heating it up with the super, and
then inhaling
it and being like, I am all powerful. I mean, it was just awesome.
It was pretty amazing. And of course, I guess where we think it's going, and I think the general consensus of this is that, Lex Luthor obviously is not going to let someone from another universe come and rule our Earth. So the villains are going to unite against the Crime Syndicate. Because essentially the Crime Syndicate has taken over and killed everybody on their world, and so left it in ruins, and so they want somewhere else. They want to pillage a new world, and so they've come to us. So
Forever Evil's definitely shaping up to be just incredible. Highly recommend everybody coming in and getting the first issue and checking it out. You don't want to miss out on it. I was slightly disappointed in Trinity War, but all has been forgiven because the Crime Syndicate is awesome. I was wrong. I admit it. So check it out. Also, another big event going on right now in Marvel is Infinity. And wow, I've just been stunned. And it's been kind of a slow burn to get here. I mean, it's been building up to it in a few different Marvel titles. It's been going on mainly in Avengers and New Avengers. Along the way, I've probably enjoyed New Avengers. Yeah,
I was on board. I love the Avengers, not just because they're Avengers. I mean, that's one of the reasons I pick up all the books. But I'm a huge fan of Jonathan Hickman's writing, and yeah, he's a little bit slow paced as far as building up to it. And I knew that what was going on was eventually going to lead to the next big Marvel event, because that seems to be the way they trend. But definitely Infinity. We're 3 issues out.
Yeah, 3. So, we're up to issue 3. Patience has paid off, because basically, in a nutshell, this is like turned into a huge galactic space soap opera where
it's not just Earth, it's everywhere.
No, it's like all these different planets are about to be annihilated by the builders, and the Avengers are the last bastion of hope
Right.
for not just Earth, but I mean a lot of the planets that could be destroyed. And I'm super excited to see where it's going. So yeah, definitely come in and check out Infinity.
You will not regret it. Even if you're not a big fan of the Avengers or New Avengers, if you haven't been reading it, it's not necessarily 100% required, but you'll definitely be much better off, and you'll enjoy the story a lot more if you pick up all those back issues.
It'll fill in the gaps.
Yeah,
but not necessary.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's talk about underrated titles. I mean,
yeah, there's some good stuff.
The events get a lot of big focus, and of course, all the huge, the Captain Americas and the X-Men and all that stuff. A lot of those main titles get a lot of good press and stuff, but there's a lot of underrated titles that are out now that more people don't pick up. And I'll be honest, I will probably argue with some of Heath's picks, but that's just because he has no taste. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, one that we can probably agree on that has got vastly improved is Green Arrow.
Absolutely.
And I'll admit that I came in on it on the right time because I'd heard how bad it was in the beginning.
I was a huge fan of Green Arrow as a character. Picked it up when New 52 booted. Never really went anywhere with it, and then they got Ann Nocenti on it, and it went down. It was garbage, and I dropped it. And so Jeff Lemire picked it up, issue 17, and it's just been amazing.
It's the perfect jumping on point. We're up to issue 23, so it's 6 back issues to pick up, but it's well worth the investment. Basically, Jeff Lemire comes in and he figuratively and literally just blows up everything that happened in the first 16 issues, so you don't have to worry about.
You're not missing anything.
No,
nothing at all.
No, and it's really awesome. It's kind of taken on a vibe where it almost has like an Indiana Jones type feel to it. It's introducing like these artifact type, like mythical weapons. Like the Green Arrow is actually
a real life artifact that you rule the Arrow clan, and there's all these different clans, and it's
different weapon for a different clan, like an axe. And
it's taken on a whole new level. It's more than just some guy dressing up as Robin Hood and fighting crime in Star City.
Lemire's creating a mythology, a different mythology than we've known before. It's going to be a different history with who Oliver's father is, and Green Arrow is awesome. Definitely give it a shot. If you heard bad things about it when it first came out, forget about that. It's been awesome since Jeff Lemire's taken over.
Absolutely. Cable and the X-Force, I guess, would be
great.
Golly, if you haven't picked this book up, you're missing a lot. I don't want to go too much into it, but it's Cable leading an X-Force team for the first time since the early 90s. It's just awesome. The writing's good. The art's fantastic. The plot line is just amazing.
The lineup is outstanding. All the characters, they fit together so well. I mean, you've got Colossus and Domino like in this one.
Boom Boom's in it now. Like, when's Boom? How long has it been since Boom Boom's been in an X-Men comic?
I know, but she's awesome. She's blowing up stuff. She's got potty mouth. You've got Colossus and Domino hooking up with like all this sexual tension and innuendos going on. The dynamic with Forge and Dr. Nemesis is hilarious.
I'm not a big fan of Dr. Nemesis. Didn't pick up Science Club. Didn't like him, but he is awesome in this book, man. I mean, it's just not enough words can be said about Cable and the X-Force except go buy it. Well, I mean, we're doing underrated titles. Let's do indies.
Yeah, there's a lot of good indie stuff, a lot of good companies. But
as you can see, Marvel and DC have a huge presence in the comic book industry, but there's still a lot of stuff that goes unnoticed because maybe some people don't give it a chance. They don't know where to start. They don't know where to differentiate what to do. So indie books, definitely where it's at. I think Number one, the first thing we're going to talk about is 10 Grand by Image Comics.
Holy crap.
If you're not reading 10 Grand, then, well, I don't have anything negative to say right now.
It is the #1 book that I look forward to every single month. I cannot wait for 10 Grand to come out. It's going to have a vibe for some people of
you'll think it's a Constantine
Hellblazer type thing, but it's really not. It's got its own distinct, unique flavor to it. The premises, you have this guy that used to be like a mob, an enforcer for the
a
mob.
button man is what he says.
A button
He's
man.
not a hitman. A hitman's just a hired murderer. He's a button man. He pushes buttons.
Events happen to where he loses his wife and he dies. And he's offered a deal with what we think is an angel that if he will become a hitman for angelic forces and take on evil, demonic, satanic type supernatural things, do their work. If he dies a righteous, good death, he will be
during this process.
During this process, he will be allowed to have 5 minutes with his wife,
because the wife is in heaven, and so
we think she's in heaven.
They offer him 5 minutes in heaven with her, in exchange for his servitude. But here's the thing: after the 5 minutes, he comes back.
Yeah,
he comes back and has to do it all again.
So it's probably, I don't know if it's more painful to not see her or see her.
Because as soon as the 5 minutes starts, I've only got 4:59.
When you turn the pages on the panels, it's showing the clock ticking down of how much time he's got left, and then bam, he's back.
Ben Templesmith, of course, from Indian fans from 30 Days of Nights, the artwork from that. He does art on it. If you're not used to it, you will pick this book up and say, "What? This is the worst art I've ever seen." But I give it a minute, and it fits, and that's part of 10 grand.
If you only try one indie book,
if you only try one book out of all of them we talk about today, it needs to be 10 grand.
It's awesome. Another great title by Image is Ghosted. This has been almost equally as awesome, I want to say. I'm loving this book too. This is another one that I'm looking forward to every time it comes out. It's only up to issue 3 right now. It's like the perfect blend of Ocean's 11 meets Ghostbusters. I really don't.
And that's exactly. I mean, Master Thief and Con Man is hired by a collector to steal a specific ghost from a specific haunted house.
Definitely check out Ghosted.
We'll have to take a break from Image because they're killing it on indie books right now. But The Wake.
Wow. This should be a movie.
Yeah.
It's 10 issues. Scott Snyder, Murphy on art. It's reminiscent of like Abyss. Like
I'm not gonna spoil anything for you, but in the first 3 issues, you find out that they have captured what they believe is a mermaid or merman. And let me tell you, these are in no way. This isn't like Twilight mermen or anything. They don't glow or sparkle. They will tear you to pieces. They will mess with your mind. It's just amazing.
It's a vampire type mermaid that has telepathic powers to get inside your head,
and it's amazing. Like that, there's some scenes in the book where it gets loose. So they've assembled a team, and of course, in every study team, there's always the hired hunter. The guy that's there in case something goes wrong, and that guy gets it handed to him. Man, he thinks he's gonna take this creature one-on-one, and as the creature lunges at him, suddenly, in his mind, he's sitting at a table eating fish, and he immediately knows, oh, that thing's clever. And it was just Scott Snyder. If you're reading Batman, if you're reading anything Scott Snyder's ever written, then you have already picked this book up, and you knew not to doubt it. But
if you're a fan of dark science fiction horror, right up your alley, definitely got to check out The Wake.
Yeah. If we're speaking about indie books, let's go and do personal picks. I think.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's something that you're reading that I'm not. Maybe something I'm reading that you're not.
Well, I'm not. Like, I'll go ahead and say it. If I'm not reading it, then it doesn't need to be read. I mean, I'll say it.
Well, I can't wholeheartedly agree with that. I know that this is not going to be one of your favorite choices here, but I absolutely love Larfleeze. This is so awesome. If you love,
I'm not shaking my head in agreement. I'm shaking my head because he's clearly delusional. So
I look forward to this one because it makes me laugh. It's hilarious. I mean, I'm pretty infamous around here for when I read comic books. I do like accents and voices of the characters inside my head. Like I think of them in a particular way. Like if I read an X-Men comic, I'm thinking Patrick Stewart as Xavier.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Stuff like that. When I read this, when I read Larfleeze's lines, I'm doing Andy Serkis as Gollum, and it's great. And his partner in here is, or his little sidekick character is a butler named Stargrave. You got to do like the posh butler accent. And the dialogue back and forth, it's so hilarious.
I imagine it's great, and one day I'll sit down and read it, but it's not going to be today.
What's awesome now is, though, it's not just going to be standalone with Larfleeze, because I'll go ahead and tell you, in issue 3, all of the Orange Lanterns that have been killed, they're back, and they're pissed, and they're coming after Larfleeze. So
why would you tell me that? Because now that may be something I want to read.
But I say check out Larfleeze.
All right. Half Past Danger from IDW is going to be my first personal pick, okay? And I will tell you why. Nazis, ninjas, and most importantly, dinosaurs, all in one place, one book.
That's like a holy trinity of sorts.
It's like crazy, man. I mean, if you go back and tell 5-year-old me that there's a book that has dinosaurs and ninjas in it, I would lose my Half Past Danger is just awesome. It's a mini series right now, 6 issues going on by IDW. It basically takes place in World War II, where a group of Allied soldiers discovers an island that's controlled, that's kind of lost in time. They have dinosaurs, and the Nazis are actually trying to capture and train the dinosaurs. I mean, Hitler needs his own mobile T-Rex, But
Hitler's always been portrayed as being into the dark arts and sciences and things, but this is new. I think dinosaurs.
It was amazing. It's amazing. I picked it up on a whim and just can't wait. I hate that it's gonna. If I'm hoping it's one of these books like Five Ghosts, and we'll talk about that in another episode when that comes out. I'm hoping this is something that they realize is good enough to kind of turn into an ongoing, because you could make this last a lot longer, but definitely still worth picking up even as a miniseries.
Another one of my personal favorites that have just come out. This might even just be my pick of the week, like in general, and I'm shocked by it. But it's Mighty Avengers #1.
I'll give it 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what to expect going into this book, because so many titles are coming out every month. But I'm like, it's an Avengers title. I'll give it a shot, and it's incredible.
My initial reaction was great, the B-list Avengers again, but I've always liked Luke Cage, and I like the characters individually. There's a couple of new ones. I'm not familiar really with the new Power Man, and I guess they call her Spectrum in this book.
She's pretty awesome though.
But they did a really good job writing it. The art was fantastic. The interaction between the characters, I mean, that's
the best thing about it, is the dialogue between the characters is perfect. It's just spot on.
Anybody can have. I mean, you can have team books, but if the dialogue, the way the characters meld together, if that's not there, then you lose it. You're just basically paying money for a bunch of garbage characters. But they do a really good job of the interaction and the team dynamic.
The chemistry's great. There's action. There's drama. There's a little bit of romance with Luke Cage, if that's your thing. The Spider-Man's awesome. I mean, it's Doc Ock. It's Superior Spider-Man, but his lines are like, I mean, they are spot on.
We also have the Splendiferous Spider-Man.
And
no hyphen.
And we know there's no shortage of Avengers books out there, but I definitely recommend giving this one a shot. It's really fantastic. It's awesome. Well, unfortunately, there's always going to be a month where we've got some sad cancellations of some titles that we love, and regrettably, we've got a few of those to talk about. I'll lead off with one that
Do we have tissues? Like, can we get like a box of Kleenexes? Because
we can cue sad music, maybe.
Incredible Hulk thing.
Yeah, that would be perfect. I'm a little bit mixed on this. I mean, I am disappointed, but Gambit is being canceled. This is what, 16? Yeah, so this is the next to last issue. There's going to be one more. It's number 17. I love some Remy LeBeau, man. I mean, Gambit is an awesome character, and the comic has had its ups and downs. The first arc, the first 4 or 5 issues was very strong. It got sidetracked a little bit and got into some stuff where he went off into Britain and was doing things with like Camelot and like Knights. They looked for Excalibur.
Yeah,
it was something ridiculous.
It was out there.
finally it got back on track, and he's hanging out with the other master thief, Joel.
Yeah.
And Tombstone showed up, and then he had run-ins with ex-girlfriends and things. It got really good. Then it got derailed again around.
He went to Fairyland
in issue 14. If it wasn't gonna die, that was probably gonna kill it. That one issue, it was bad. But it looks like the final 3 issues just gonna go out with a bang.
So he deserves a good ending. I mean, yeah. I don't want to see him I like the fact that he had his own ongoing, but
yeah. I mean, the whole premise was he was taking a break from the school. He was just kind of tired of being a teacher. He just wanted to steal stuff because he can.
Sometimes a thief's just got to steal stuff.
He just got to be a thief sometimes. And but I'm assuming they're gonna end this, tie it up with a nice bow, and probably get him back in the school.
They're gonna have to.
Yeah.
All right. So Gambit X will lead to X Factor. What can you say? X Factor is a book that when I got out of comics for a long time, and of course back when I was a kid, I was read X books, and then got back into it, and a friend of mine recommended X Factor as a good X title. The best part about it is it really had nothing to do with the main X continuity, so you could pretty much pick it up at any time and just read a self-contained story arc. And the team was just, Strongman, he's going by Guido now, Multiple Man, Layla, all of it's just an awesome team. And Peter David has just been doing an amazing job of writing an interesting, well-liked group of characters that for a long time have been considered B-list characters, but they got their own book and they made it, man. And it was...
I'm stunned this is being canceled. I mean, this is, 262 issues? I mean, it's one of the longest running titles.
Well, the thing with Marvel that Marvel is notorious for is, we're going to cancel this book, and then suddenly next week you'll have X Factor Volume 8, and it's like, but this...
I feel for sure it'll come back at some point.
There will be an X Factor book.
Yeah.
My issue with it is the way this ended. They are pretty much offered, do you want to be reunited with your team? Because they've kind of, when breaking points, the team splits up and goes their own ways after, Hell on Earth War. And at the end of this, he says, no, I want to start a family. So my issue is that, man, we're not going to see another Multiple Man, another X Factor Investigations. It was just sad stuff.
It's a bad month for X books. But let's don't end on a sad note. Let's end on a happy
we got one more cancellation, and I've got to gather my thoughts and mentally prepare.
Oh yeah, this is pretty heart-wrenching.
Anybody out there that's watching this, the two of y'all that are actually watching this, that know me, know I'm a huge Venom fan. And Venom has had its own book for, don't let me cover up Mania there. Venom has had its own ongoings for, 2 years now. And it's just been over 2 years. It's just been fantastic. Cullen Bunn, who's written it from the, you had Rick Remender write it, I think, for a little bit, and then Cullen Bunn took over. And it's just been awesome. Really has been getting really good since he moved to Seattle and kind of Philadelphia, and wanted to do his own little thing. And these last couple of issues have just been fantastic. I don't read a lot of internet sites and everything, and I was informed the other day by a customer that the book was being canceled, and I almost jumped across the counter. And I'm heartbroken. And so this is issue 40. 41 just came out. And then 42 is going to be the end, man. And that's, what am I going to do? Where's going to be my Venom fix after that? But like you said, let's not end on
let's not end on a bad note. We talked about so many X books ending. I want to talk about one that's going to begin that I think is going to be fantastic. It's taking the place of Astonishing X-Men in a way. It's filling the hole. It's Amazing X-Men.
Amazing X-Men.
But it's written by Jason Aaron. And I'm so excited about this. I was reading some of the previews about it today, and there was interviews with Jason Aaron where he's saying this is a book that's going to run in the beginning in tandem with Wolverine and the X-Men. If you want your school fix with the kids, you can read Wolverine and the X-Men. If you want to go out on the adventures where there's the fighting and all that kind of stuff going on, then you're going to have Amazing X-Men. But that's not the biggest thing. That's not the best thing. We got a character coming back. A long-awaited character that's been dead for 3 years now. Kurt.
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler. He's coming back, and it's going to feature Azazel.
I'm still on a Venom cancellation low, so don't let that confuse hide my extreme excitement to see Nightcrawler back in a comic.
I think all X fans have been. I mean, and I've read too. There was hints that this was coming because if you've been reading Wolverine and the X-Men from the beginning, the Bamps.
The Bamps, yeah. Well, I always said those guys look a lot like miniature Nightcrawlers. I thought Nightcrawler had knocked somebody up and that these things were running around, but you're finding out that these are interdimensional, miscreants that do hold some sort of relation to Nightcrawler. Yeah. So I'm really excited to see how he ties that in and where we go with that. But
so there's good X stuff on the horizon. If you're a Jason Aaron fan, I mean, I think this is going to be an excellent book. So I'm looking forward to it. Well, I know there's one for Bat fans out there, female.
Yeah, I guess we can talk about that. Harley Quinn, are you kidding me? She's getting her own going. And my favorite part about this is the way DC has tried to promote the Zero issue that's going to come out. They're doing an open talent contest in which you have to draw 4 separate panels of Harley Quinn. One of her standing over on a ledge, like she can't, like she hasn't been able to jump off or something. And the best one is the 4th one. They're asking you to draw Harley Quinn nude in the bathtub with a series of toasters and hair dryers and everything plugged in but suspended, and she's got some way to release them all in the bathtub at the same time with an expression of, well, I guess I'll get it right this time on her face.
I can't imagine being part of the team that has to go through these submissions.
Yeah, I would love to be like, no, this one's not going to work. But the winner will get something. His art will be published in issue 0, but the fact that they're going with that kind of direction, that zany, crazy. I've loved Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad since New 52's restarted. It's just been amazing. She's really kind of coming to her own. In the past, she's been like Mr. J, Puddin', all that good stuff. And in this, she still talks about Mr. J. That was an uncanny representation there. She still talks about Mr. J, but it's more of she's her own. She realizes she has to be on her own, so she's becoming real independent. And it's just amazing. I'm so excited to see where it goes.
The last one that I'm about to die for this book to come out is by one of my favorite writers right now, Rick Remender. Black Science is the Image title, coming out in a couple of months. Setup basically is it's these scientists that have figured out how to break through normal physics and things to discover
through the dimensional barriers,
worlds. And it's not time travel, it's like dimension travel. I just reading it, it makes me think it portrays it like they're in space searching for a way to get back home through these dimensions. It makes me think of Quantum Leap meets Sliders or something.
I think what's happened is that they found that that space in between dimensions is not something to be messed with, and that they've in changing dimensions they've stumbled across their worst nightmares. And the art, Matteo Scalera on art, he's doing the Agent Hulk through time right now. Just the solicitations look amazing. I have absolute faith in Rick Remender as a writer. Everything he's written, I think, like a lot of people were questioning the Captain America, but even those critics are coming back now to say, well, this totally makes sense now. Just really excited. Image, I mean, let's talk about what Image has had recently. Peter Panzerfaust, Saga, Revival, Sheltered, Ghosted, 10 grand, just to name a few. So my advice, if you're not sure, you can always pick up issue 1 and then not get it after that. But definitely want to pick up Black Science when that comes out in October. It's definitely going to be worth picking up.
It's going to be great. That's all we have for today, guys. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Let us know with feedback below in the comments if there's anything you want us to talk about in future episodes. We'll be glad to read something and give you our views on it, and we'll keep you up to date on what's coming out, what's going on, and everything we're looking forward to. So thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next time on Comics Examination.